Welcome in, everybody. Championship Sunday. A spot in the finals, potentially 3 straight for GenG. That being said, G2 starting to get a leg back up on them as time has gone on. Stumpy, definitely a little bit split, leaning towards GenG. How do you feel about it?
I mean, Desk are split, their past results are split. Each team, they've faced off, twice against each other. It's been 3-1 both ways. But G2, they won that most recent matchup back in the Swiss. But I'm going to be honest, there's a little bit of bias from me. GenG, the European lad, Nolly and Jack, I can't go against it in the North American regional. I've waited so long to cast these guys since they came over to America, and I'm super excited they were able to see them. But this is going to be their hardest challenge to get through into that grand finals for the 3rd time in a row.
I've certainly had my fair share of GenG in the booth, and I will admit I'm also quite excited to get back in here with them. They're a lot of fun to watch. They tend to pull off some insane defensive plays and have strong counterattacks from the side walls. We'll see if that can come to fruition against a very aggressive Chicago. Really got a good look at the G2 structure yesterday. Chicago was playing incredibly aggressive and really trying to put a lot of pressure on his opposition, and see if he can break up some of those GenG counterattacks. As currently, GenG looking for a foothold in the blue half. The long clear going to prevent all of that from becoming a thing.
They've killed it. Both of these teams are like, they're looking to be as aggressive as they can. GenG, when you look at how they want to play these games alongside G2, although GenG leads statistically along a lot of these things that we tend to look at when we look at their performance throughout this season so far, GenG are up there. They've got a lot of aggression. They go for a huge amount of shots. Jack especially.
They got
shots and goals. And going early on, sometimes you don't need to go for those crazy fancy shots. We have seen them pull out of the bag in the previous regionals. Sometimes it's a case of see their back line is pushed up a little bit too far and you just need to lob them.
That is just a little bit too far. Atomic kind of thinking that maybe Chicago was going to have that challenge a little bit closer to him and be able to kick it left or maybe even forward, and unfortunately dead wrong, lost it outright. Got caught leaning. Chicago blasted it right side. They bring it right back.
And the pass from JNabs, I thought he saved it and messed this up, but look at how he approaches it. Goes on there and then backflips, gets it back out. The pass to Chicago, perfection. Apparently Jack left grounded with his jaw on the floor next to him. That pass from JNabs, sublime.
That was beautiful from JNabs indeed. Way to get yourselves right back in it, especially after you give up a goal like the first one they gave up. You're kind of like, you don't really feel like they earned it. They just caught you leaning a little bit. So it's good to get yourselves back in order, and GenG and try and reassert control here.
I think the GenG is so good at as well when they just wrestle the control back as often as they like. And the demo from Nolly opening up Atomic on the back, sends him off for a 3-second nap and gets the shot out from apparently Jack. The goal still from Chronic. You love to see it. Taken away from Jack being first in goals by just a smidge, getting over 1 per game, and yet to score in this one.
Great understanding from Nolly as well. I mean, that ball went up in the air and he instantly took off the ball cam, started looking for Atomic. He understood that G2 structure and knew there was only 1 man back. Chronic whiffs on one. Probably could have put JNabs in a tough spot, but who knows if JNabs would have stopped it. Everyone knows he can play defense with the best of them as well. As Atomic gets a freebie, a missed putt from Nolly. Disaster for GenG.
And these teams just split by that hair yet again. A mistake from Nolly. Not even a touch on that. It's not even a bad one. There is just no touch at all on Atomic. Every now and then you're going to be handed that free goal on a platter. You might see that rotation as that's a little bit, hoping that he's going to miss that ball. 99 times out of 100, nobody at this level is going to. But that one time, you're going to be thankful that you were lurking.
Is definitely something Atomic likes to do. He does tend to position so that if there's a mistake, he will capitalize. That's one of his favorite spots to be in. It's generally everyone's favorite spot to be in. If you're playing ranked, it's always the don't mess up position, as I like to call it.
When you're on the backboard and you see a player come in and just lurk, you're like, oh, pressure's on, lads. There's every chance I miss this, so I'm praying.
Into the middle. Apparently Jack finds a gap in the net right over JNab's shoulder.
And a lovely pass coming out too. Chicago being quite loose with that ball, sends it into the corner when Nolly, he was waiting himself. It doesn't roll up, it just bounces out, and then Nolly with that touch. Jack read that play perfectly, sends it top corner, and it is back and forth. Only just gone over half time and 5 goals in the game already.
Really looking for a bit of stability for both teams at this point. You both know that they can capitalize, and at least get out of their own half. No one's really getting pinned in. It's just a matter of, okay, we just have to hit the ball when we're on defense a little bit better, take care of it a bit more, and we'll be in better shape.
I love that from Jack too. It was G2 looked a little bit scared. They knew that what Jack can do. His ones are what he is famous for ultimately. And the fact that he had 0 boost and still pushed 2 defenders back and away, the respect that G2 holds to his name is going to potentially open up a lot of plays for apparently Jack. Chronic works his way down the pitch, is blocked out by Atomic, and GenG opts to go low with that ball. Jack thought that he was going to go high with it, and so he's mispositioned himself.
Ooh, okay, but the demo comes through, and that means Nolly is really messing with the timing here. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough pieces in front of the net to get one through, but definitely taking great care of the ball as they move on to offense right there for GenG, and I'd like to see them really trying to put G2 through their paces.
GenG yesterday, they were really putting V1 through their paces. V1 looking like they were shut down, and near enough every opportunity they were given, when they ended up beating them 4-1, a huge win for GenG. They are the #1 team going into this regional as well. They've already made it to LAN, as have G2. It's all about seeding from now on, and Nolly clearing into the corner. Sees Chronic waiting for it with low boost, though. He just has to boom, and we enter the final minute, and we've been goalless for about a minute and a half so far.
Definitely wanted the stability. Well, you got it. JNAP's in a perfect landing spot to surprise apparently Jack, and you may see GenG here start to give a little bit of ground just to favor stability. You're under a minute. Chronic just goes straight towards the net to force G2 to respect it, and that'll waste a few seconds, but apparently Jack didn't really have anywhere to go with it. Could be a good G2 counterattack as Chicago misses the flip reset. JNAP's uncontested, and apparently Jack to safety from the back wall.
That's got to just be a shot from JNAPS too. He went for something slower, tried to get that goal from something rather than just hitting it hard, but it's off Nolly. That worked early on. The final 20 seconds sees GenG on this push, though. Apparently Jack onto the side, gets shut down by JNAPS. Corner pass towards Atomic. The pinch not coming in, so Jens has to turn back, and Nolly touching it lightly to himself, then goes to the fake around the side. Chronic to shoot, Nolly to bump. 4 for GenG.
You could just feel Chronic lining this one up. Nolly picks off the weak touch, and Chicago is unfortunately facing backwards. He has no way to actually challenge Nolly at point of contact. Has to just try and stall it out. Does his best, but Chronic with a lot to pick from puts this one on ice, and GenG going to walk away with game 1, assuming that this kickoff goes neutral and indeed straight out to the side.
So that gentle touch from Nolly is something that I've been really appreciating from pros recently, where they just deal with the recoil so well. Whether I can air roll into the ball and then send it a little bit further than you would have seen previously, you know, getting it dead on that corner, or they absorb it, like when you're catching and you sort of cushion the ball with your hands. Just being able to do that with the car, and then it just stays so close to you. I saw it yesterday in the series I was with Stacks. I believe it was LJ at the time, or Daniel, where they just caught the ball so perfectly on defense, and then from being in the air dribbled it. And it's blown my mind, that amount of control that they've just got. And Nolly showing off exactly how he needs to do. Ends up being bottom of the scoreboard by 7 points. Not going to hold it against him. 4-2 GenG over G2 in that first game.
I got a little bit slapdash at the start. You didn't really know what to expect from both teams. Some uncharacteristic errors for both sides, but at the end of the day, GenG comes out on top, and it was really, I think, the physicality in front of the net that gave them a lot more to work with. Not really used to seeing G2 get punched out of the way so often and allow that many open nets.
Yeah, I mean, Nolly, he was the one punching that hole time and time again, just getting rid of as many players on the back line as he could, but without breaking that rotation, which is such an important balance to try and strike, where your teammates know, okay, you're not going for the ball, that means I can come in, but you have to come back if this ends up going wrong. GenG playing that balance to near perfection. You can get a few more demos in there, I believe in you, lads. Try and break that that demo amount. You got 20 in that one game last weekend. Apparently Jack receiving that ball, and Chicago coming out with a demo on Nolly on Aquadome.
Yeah, and it's a good idea because GenG having that deep rotation back and Chicago finding that person means GenG has to cover a lot of the pitch right now. So the structure, while they've definitely respawned here, is definitely not exactly where they would like to be positioned. They are kind of playing this a little bit awkwardly, and Chronic making the right choice, try and bring it down on a dribble, force possession, slow the play down, let everyone really get set. There's a Chronic, that is Atomic, excuse me. I can read words. There's too many A's and C's and names that I just gonna get twisted up here.
And don't even get him started on the amount of G's in this series either. We're looking at way too many. But the first minute has gone differently to how we saw in that first game. We're seeing no goals go in by this point. I think we had 3. The Nolly then with 0 boost. Yeah, she burned a lot with not gaining too much ground, but apparently Jack with 30 and misses on that side. He's going to be able to pass it central. Just a little bit of confusion in the corner, but the ball's still maintaining control in the favor of GenG.
Really like to see GenG slow that one down there in the corner as well. If you're going to send that many people, you might as well make sure you take the challenge properly, and that's going to ricochet straight towards Nolly. He's going to let it go. Apparently Jack just has to trap it to buy time, and GenG just waiting to see if something materializes. There's a little more physicality. Double demo Atomic, one-on-one, top corner, bar down, out. Achronic's gonna need help. He's gonna leave it for Nolly. Flip reset to get over the defense. Here's apparently Jack off the wall. The third man gets slowed down by JNAPS getting in his face, and GenG leave one on the table.
Oh, GenG just alley-ooping all their way to Saturn. Just they couldn't quite make that play work in the end, so they continue with the attack onto the battle. Chronic then finally going low. They send it a couple meters below where they were absolutely denting the backboard, and finally they get the opener.
Apparently, Jack, it works both ways. It's the takeaway from JNAPS, but also the pressure of the shot on goal. What a touch from him. Doesn't end up going in, but it does set up GenG to come back through, and holding G2 to 0 shots right now. GenG, a great job, like you said, alley-ooping their way all the way to Saturn.
I don't know what it means either, mate. Just don't.
I don't know how they stayed on offense. I really thought a clear was going to come through it somewhere along the line, but they rallied pretty quick after kind of leaving one wishing that they could have executed a little bit more, and that's just as impressive to recover that quick and restart the offense.
Well, it's what we're seeing, going through those rotations by the back corner boost, and when they're burned for 10 seconds, you're then leaving pennies on the floor for G2 to try and collect. If they can't get them, then it becomes a lot harder. Nolly clearing away that attempt with Atomic continuing to push. They can't quite continue on that one, and JNAPS sending it lazily into the corner. He was up a little bit too late. His car isn't angled quite right for it, and this is how you clear a ball. Apparently, Jack going straight into the skies doesn't secure that flip reset. Chronic has to dash back to get that roll-away shot. The challenge coming from the corner from Chicago. JNAPS, though, continues to lurk. Good opportunities for G2, but Atomic shies away from that ball in entirety.
You really think that he could have applied a lot of pressure there, too. That wasn't the cleanest catch from Chronic. He definitely didn't look like he had full control over it, but who knows, maybe it was a call-out that someone wasn't going to be back late, and rather than conceding a potential strong counterattack, just said take the one-on-one on the sidewall where it's a little bit safer, and take our chances elsewhere as Chicago's denied by apparently Jack.
Good demo in the midfield as well. Jack getting rid of Atomic, and Nolly can just dribble it in. There were 2 defenders back, but neither of them wanted to go for the attack.
Yeah, the demo on front of contact. JNAPS got punched as well, so apparently Jack, he's not involved in the stat line at all, but he's the only reason it goes in. The demo to stop Nolly from getting challenged, and the bump on JNAPS to secure the lane all the way to net. Huge play from apparently Jack.
Nolly, though, with 0 boost in the corner, has to try and work something from this, but with 2 goals up in the good, with 90 seconds remaining, falls to G2 to attempt to get some shots on target. They have 2 so far. That's as many as apparently Jack has in total. The lowest shooting player on GenG. They've been
goodness.
Ollie! No way!
Just give him the ball. Apparently Jack says go get it, catches the flip reset instantly and catches it with force, catches the rebound off the ceiling, and Nolly, he's getting one right now.
That's North America's #1 player. Nolly being able to drop the 3rd goal for GenG. That's his 2nd in this game, and JNAPS needs to try and start something with that attempt off the kickoff immediately. Aquadome has firmly been in the favor of GenG. Nolly instead going for the bump. Atomic has to get that late read and goes to in and out, bumps Atomic out of the way. Turns into the back corner, slowing it down. Apparently Jack is up with 67 boost. He passed it over towards Chronic. Nolly is waiting central. He doesn't need Nolly. Chronic, he just needs 30 boost.
Just taking what they're giving him as Chicago chance to score a double tap denied by apparently Jack. It's straight to Nolly. Is it in the net? Atomic is saying go away, please. Don't like these long clears.
Stop it. Oh man, I love just seeing how they right now G2 they need to sit back, otherwise they concede their 4th. Like, it's all well and good trying to push for that goal, but if you then go down by another shot, this game is pretty much done regardless. You're not going to be seeing a 3-goal comeback in 20 seconds at 99.9% of games, but getting that 4th is going to be a bit of a momentum shifter. Trying to get across to Nolly, tries to go for that slow roll. Chronic again back to Jack, bottom corner. The opposite post, the fake out from Nolly. This time, no goal coming from that play. We enter a new phase. 5 seconds remain. This has been dominant from GenG.
it is not very often you see a game where a team literally just drove circles around G2. That does not happen often. And yeah, timeout G2 here, 100%. Chicago has 54 score, kept dead silent, goose eggs across the board. That's points from a few touches and maybe a clear, maybe 2 or 3 clears, and GenG driving rings around him in game 2. That was sick.
That is, yeah, that was sick in the way of good and also a bit disgusting from what we saw coming out from Nolly. And I mean, that is what we're seeing right now from, and actually, I'm going to say, North America's #1 versus North America's #5 team, if we're looking at the rankings. Pre-season, would you think that I meant GenG at #1 there and not G2?
No, absolutely not. I don't think anyone had GenG anywhere near the top 5, maybe top 8, maybe maybe for a potential major spot, you know, sneaking in there with a good record, everyone expecting some adjustment time, but no, just walked in and decided to just run the table, apparently, as they appear to be well on their way to their 3rd grand final in a row, as G2 Esports. Even Sathy there got to pinch the nose a little bit, self-soothe, trying to figure out what's going on here.
I mean, I spoke to Chicago yesterday after his series when they managed to win that, obviously, versus Complexity. And he was saying that we had that big sit down. Again, a brilliant article over on Shift, an interview with Sathy, where they're saying we had to have a really big sit down and be incredibly honest with each other. You know, it wasn't working. We came 9th to 11th in the previous regional to this one. That is, for G2, embarrassing. You don't do that especially when you've got this 3rd invitational coming up. And that sit down from Chicago's perspective, he said it was needed. We needed to be honest with ourselves. That's not the team that they are. And Sathy, I love that when we came to their cams, we saw him smiling. He's like, look, guys, they're playing really well, but we can, I'm sure, play better because we can. Like, we got to the grand finals at Worlds. We have won these events many, many times. We've won a major ourselves. We can do it. Like, these are the new kids on the block. Let's show them what the oldies can do.
Well, currently the big difference appears to be perfect flip resets from Nolly at any given moment to actually beat a defender and not get bumped off the ball. Because he's able to stick with it too. Because a lot of times you see people start these air dribbles and then they get punched right after they get the touch so that the continuation of the play can't actually occur. And GenG they're just getting around defenders, which of all things is not something you'd think would happen at that G2 midfield line. So in game 3, you really hope to see the challenge game dial itself in.
There we go.
Who cares about the challenge game? JNAPS just rips one in off the kickoff, I suppose.
There we go. Fair enough. Chicago with the kickoff.
Jack, it doesn't even look like he moved.
Apparently, Jack was still sipping his massive water bottle. Be like, right, it's the series and we're down. Okay, cool. All right, fair enough. I guess I'm going to just score a couple of sick goals myself then. Chronic doesn't have the boost to go for that one off the kickoff, but going in the favor of GenG to begin with. G2, what an incredible start you can have by essentially beginning this game with a handicap and getting a goal in 5 seconds.
Yeah, couldn't ask for a better start after the timeout, as Chronic uncontested in the middle of the field around JNAPS, and there it is again. He gets through 2 people challenging him, gets the bump, and it's all a 1v3.
And it's all over for G2 on the back. Chronic gets that sideways flip reset and then immediately has target acquired on JNAPS. Nobody is getting out unscathed. GenG with a banger of an equalizer.
Handicap erased. Forget it. 0-0, 4:30. Apparently Jack working his way out, and you just got to be so annoyed if you're G2. You don't know how you're not getting in their face and taking them off the ball as Chronic changes up the timing in the corner. Chicago comes up empty. They go for a pinch up the field, and G2 is just looking for an out right now, and this should put him in a position to do it.
See G2 at the back just being pushed. Yeah, they can't come out of their own half. The boost isn't looking too bad for them, though. They've all got like over 70, but not going below. Nearly getting that one. Chronic going to the opposite corner, and then Atomic sending it high. Who's there? It's Chicago has to play it off his own backboard. Nolly's going to be turning around instead. Jack with 70 has to turn on it. Doesn't quite manage to steal that 100 boost, and that is massive for Atomic because now he can push and get behind JNAPS, who had 0, but it does manage to get around him. Nolly getting a lot of brilliant clears here. GenG, that one, a potential chance to score, but I'm sure they're going to know, okay, we had a couple chances in the previous game and we still won it like 3-0, so no problem, lads. We continue to push.
Definitely a mistouch there for GenG, though. Gave G2 a chance at sticking on offense. They find the second opportunity to clear the ball, though. Now it's them trying to force G2 back into their own side. Apparently Jack with an aggressive volley.
Oh, it's straight in! It's straight in! How's that happened? That is such a gentle touch considering how fast he was going into the free flip. And then it just taps so lightly behind, in between both defenders.
Ball, but Chicago doesn't even go for it. And so the angle is just straight into the net.
Cover your goal, Chicago. But I mean, also, when is Nolly ever challenging that? When's anybody challenging that? It's like in ones where you see in your occasional Apparently Jack video who goes, why is he gone? Why has he challenged that? What is he doing? And that is what Nolly is embodying, going for everything he can and surprising G2.
Well, G2 still within one. Not even halfway through. There's a lot of time left, but when you just... Oh, you're kidding. The perfect clear towards the goal. Chicago on the wall. Here comes GenG. Leaves it for apparently Jack straight down, but unfortunately, since they double committed, Chronic wasn't going to be there for that counterattack. There's no fruit, and GenG just going to try and hold on for a few more seconds.
2 minutes 20 remaining, and GenG continue their hard-line, full frontal attack, and Nolly trying to lure in a couple of defenders, because I think he's also realized that, well, with that demo, that's nice, actually, and again, open. We're seeing that when Nolly is going for those kind of plays, he's luring in 1.5 defenders at the moment. He's aiming to bring in at least one, hoping that it's going to be over one, trying to get the 2 defenders that are going to be able to come in, because that is going to open up the play and being the absolute playmaker for apparently Jack for Chronic.
Ooh, big bump from apparently Jack. Forces JNAPS into a race. And G2 starting to get a little bit more of a handle on the... Oh, no. Atomic comes up empty and will get punished.
Look at Jack. Look at Jack in the camera, literally screaming and rocking, going, let's go. That is pretty bad from Atomic, let's be honest. But Jack to hang around and just get that final shot. It was Nolly's pass as well. Wasn't great. It was one that I'd make in ranked. I'm like, oh, I've just given the possession away. And Atomic, he just could not make the touch. And immediately outsped. It's a story of 4 goals in game number 3.
Oh, this dead stalemate of a kickoff. Nolly comes into the second challenge just a minuscule amount of time later. Goes straight through the defense, and Nolly in the perfect spot for it again. I mean... You felt like this one was just in hand 60 seconds ago. You were only down 1. And then bang, bang. And now you feel like you're totally out of it.
Just delivering that left-right goodnight from GenG, unable to do anything other than score a couple of worldies over towards G2. But G2, they had good opportunities, and they have given away, I'd say, 2 of these goals by just clear errors, unforced errors as well. A lot of talks need to happen, because that is a problem, especially... I'm not even going to talk about that, because I need to see what happened again.
You own goal. The JNAP's just trying to steal this pass here from Chronic. You can see it headed towards apparently Jack or Nolly, and it's just straight off the headlight under the bar. That is the embodiment of nothing is going our way.
Yeah.
You're a G2 fan.
Yeah, not nice to look at, but... For a lot of G2 fans, you're going to be happy that you have secured the major at this point. You've got the major in hand. Axel lost yesterday, and so therefore G2 are in as that 5th with no tiebreaker needed as far as I am concerned, or as far as I am aware. Apparently Jack now to this ceiling, trying to get another one. The bump also coming in from Nolly. I love
you guys don't need 6. Just throw the ball away.
No. Achieved. They don't need 6. They need 7.
Oh, you're right, my mistake.
They need 7 achieved, of course.
My bad. Boy.
Oh, fair play, that's nice.
Used to enough counterattack, and at this point, if you're G2, you just want to see 1 go in.
This is the most garbage time of garbage times I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
I'm going to be honest. Like, this is where 0 matters. Like, everyone's just sort of getting a touch on the ball. This is what the lobbies look like, by the way, when they're testing the ping.
They warm up, this lobby good, bang. Get it towards the net.
I'm expecting the admin now, after that one, to type, ready to go? Wait until I say go, then you can join up. Next one's live. But that is 5-2 with a full garbage time goal for G2. And that's after the timeout. They went down by 2. They took a timeout, and then they conceded more. Like, what do you do?
it didn't feel like there was any significant adjustment or anything. I was really looking for the challenge game, and yeah, it kind of started to equalize a little bit, but in terms of the general output from G2 over on the other side, about the same. And the same for GenG. It's not like they were even preventing any shots on target. I mean, the timeout may have been most beneficial just to try and keep the mental game in check, because you just got smashed 2 games straight. And then you go out there in game 3 and it's more the same. Ugh.
I mean,
it's not good.
Right now, GenG are outscoring G2 12-4.
To 4, yeah.
They've scored 300% of the goals that we've seen come out. Like, they have been, and you see this happen time and time again whenever we see GenG on these championship Sundays when they're trying to gun to get that title. And you look at how they approach the series, and they go all out. They score 1, cool, where's the next? They score 3, cool, where are the other 2? They continue to push, and they never sit back. They never turtle. They just make sure that they are pushing as hard as they can at every given opportunity, and G2 are inherently and entirely unable to deal with that pressure. But we do see every now and then, after 3 dominant games, that game 4 is different. We see then that win come out, and that is what G2 are praying for right now. They need that win, otherwise it's going to be a 4-0
Look at
embarrassment, and Nolly continues the pain.
Look at Chicago here. He's going to recover, and then there goes Atomic. He has to give the space.
Yeah.
Because apparently Jack is saying, if you go, you're dead. And Nolly's just waiting, saying, give me 5 inches. 5 inches, and I'm through. Apparently Jack gave him 2 feet, and he scored.
Apparently Jack buying a mile, and you love to see just that amount of teamwork. But JNaps on that backline has to try and get something from the Chicago backflipping.
Oh my goodness.
2. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this semi-finals. We're going to be going to an early break because, as far as I'm concerned, this is over.
Chicago, I don't even think he necessarily misplayed it that bad. He definitely was getting ready to head towards the corner and support his teammate, but the challenge just went straight over his teammate's head, and worst case scenario, it's a soft one, so the bar down and in is good. 30 seconds in, and boy, oh boy, long road back now for G2. Yeah. I don't even like saying that it's genuinely a blowout.
Like, Jesus, it's 14-4, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not pretty for G2. Nolly with a brilliant save there as well, able to clear it away into the corner. Chronic resetting in defense.
There we go.
Lovely pass.
Oh my gosh.
Atomic has to shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Atomic!
It can't be real. It can't be. Yeah, that's the Shogun scream at Game 7, World Finals, nailed the banger, but now it's just anger and sadness.
I'm fuming.
Have to be kidding me. How has it not gone in?
I tweeted before this series saying, this is series of the day. This is series of the day, no problem. But this is the series of a lifetime for GenG. Nothing is going right for G2. It's one they're going to want to forget, but they've still got 3.5 minutes of living through it. This is still in the present, it's not in the past. This has to be an almighty rally back.
You do have the time for it.
100%.
Boy, you just got to hang on to possession a little bit. They're starting to get that going a little bit here. They are pushing more and more on
lovely
the orange
passes as well.
Oh
all of
my
that,
gosh.
Like, ignore that. Leading up to Atomic shot, those passes, I love them. They were great. They were fine to get around the side of GenG, but it just came down to you had a barn door to hit and you've sent it into the next town over.
How to recover one-on-one. Oh, and the soft chip with the demo. Look at this catch is immaculate.
I'm grossed out. I am disgusted. That is a fermented pile of awfulness coming from Jack. And JNaps can only stand there and be a target at the end of the range. 3-0, GenG. Disgusting.
You know, normally my co-caster makes me speechless, but I do not know what to say right now. Well played, GenG. Series of the day, perhaps, but not for the reason you thought.
Yeah, that's fair.
GenG, good morning.
How are you doing?
You came to play today, I can see that. You want another day? Oh, you're joking. You're joking.
Just shoot
that was
target.
Good.
That's it.
Yes.
Come on.
In the net.
It's only 15-5. all right? You've got your chances. Atomic, that catch is beautiful. Being able to dribble it central and then leaving away from that ball, getting yourself down, then Chicago comes in for the shot, that's great. You've outplayed all of GenG, Please continue with that momentum. That's got to be a little bit inspiring, but Chronic is going to try and shut down those dreams as best he can. G2, you've got 2 minutes, lads. Come on, push.
Well, it all starts with getting past the midfield line. The punt, certainly one way to do it, but it's hanging onto the ball. That's the question. And the physicality finally missing for GenG. It is giving G2 some lines through JNaps. It's a juicy one. Chicago trying to jam it home. G2 finally starting to come online here with about 2 minutes left.
Well, Chicago as well going for the bump on the back line, but apparently Jack disrupts that entire plan by just winning the ball instead. That one bouncing out of Chronic's control. Would have been out of Chronic's control and shied away from him, but with Nolly's such a close shadow up to his teammate, it just falls to him as opposed to anybody who's being proactive over on G2. Apparently Jack trying to tip it over the top. The final 90 seconds going to fall to Chicago on the left wing with JNaps central.
Space trying to get the physical game going. Get some gaps somewhere on that G2 side, and there's 3 people just camped out on the GenG side. It's we're up by 2 with a minute left, and Atomic trying to buy as much time as possible. The physicality from Chicago as well, scaring off apparently Jack from the line as he actually times the fake challenge perfectly twice in a row, and finally JNaps will work his way through. Chicago finds a demo. The challenge going wrong, and a minute now. GenG just trying to hold on.
It's just every chance that we were seeing them have is something that I am shocked to see. You know, Jack is rotating in so closely, staying just shadowing that ball nicely. Chicago tried to shoot that one effectively, but with very little boost, he's unable to. Only just picked up 12. Nolly to tap it back behind him. 30 seconds left on the clock.
There's the deep punt into the corner. Chicago is going to leave it for Atomic. Gives G2 again another punt and try and stretch one out. But when you've got everyone back from GenG, it's not going to work. You have to take a bit more of a cautious approach. As much as you don't like to do it with no time on the clock, you can't just throw it at them. They're too well set. And Chronic wants one off the ceiling. No, they missed. It didn't just go straight in.
What happened? The aim assist turned off. I can't believe it. And at the end of that series, we have seen a first arrive for G2. That is the first time they have been swept in any series since Atomic has joined them. And that is not a first that they are going to want to remember anytime soon. A dominant, a disgusting 4-0 for an incredible GenG Mobile 1 Racing.